What is up, brothers and sisters? Can all hear Bulls on Wall Street? Holy macaroni. We had a big rejection in the markets at some key technical levels. So let's spend some time digging into the market indices and then what the heck the game plan is tomorrow and how do we make sense of this mess? Because, things were looking hunky dory for a second, but, resistance in bear markets resists. And we had a primetime opportunity, and we were talking about this in yesterday's video. After this big flush, we've had a nice bounce right into the 200-day moving average. But that's also where the anchored VWAP is on the QQQs too. And so we had multiple levels of support, and I should say multiple levels of resistance sitting right there at the sweet spot. And then, of course, today in the news, we had some tariff stuff. Goldman Sachs had also done some downgrades on AI center growth. There was a hodgepodge of just random pieces of news that always coincide with the technicals, right? Since I've been trading, that's always been the case. They always coincide right with the technicals. Everybody's like, oh, it was this piece of news. It's like, well, resistance resists, and here we are. So now the big hairy Indian butt is, what the heck do we do with this mess, right? So we've come in, we've broken under the 20, broken under the 9. My guess is we gap the F word down tomorrow. And, maybe we kind of come back into, some of this zone and back and fill this thing, and then we'll see kind of what's up. At this point, based on today's action, we do have to be very, very defensive. Obviously the trend is down. If we had recaptured the 200-day moving average and held over it for a handful of days, I think that would have been very bullish. That's not in the cards right now. And you can see on the SPY here too, anchored VWAP, 200-day moving average, a big stick down too, right? So you got yourself really just a nasty hodgepodge of stuff here, right? IWM also down about 1.3%. We have just, basically endless causes of bear flags here. So we'll see kind of what's going on. Now, look, we're still run by the news cycle. So, there's always a chance that we kind of rip down and then Trump says like, I was just joking, and you kind of grind it back. But, even if you take all of that stuff away, we are just in this period where we're probably going to be shopping around, doing this kind of stuff for a good chunk of the time. We are just in that market cycle. And, we've essentially seen, right, the semiconductor bubble burst, of recent. We haven't really broken the big swing lows, but we're getting there, right? After the big run, we've got this rollover period, and the real key will be down over here. That's when it's game over. Like if it starts to take out kind of this zone over here. And look, trend lines are all like, look, you start drawing them, it's like all fucking bullshit, right? It's more of just a zone of love that really matters. It's never like, hey, this is your exact spot, but somewhere around in here, if we don't hold that, then obviously that puts really the whole much broader market in a lot more peril. Instead of a 10% drop in the markets, we're looking at a 20 or 25. So we'll see kind of what happens on this, but we've seen this kind of action before. We're kind of seeing it right now in some of these, right? High flyers too, very similar, right? Where it's like they parabolic and now they've collapsed, and they're spending time doing these bigger, longer rollover patterns, and we'll kind of see what comes out of it. So I think the game plan for tomorrow, look, you can't get too cute with this stuff, all right? Today was a warning shot to say protect yourself. Today was a warning shot to say protect yourself. You probably want to just stick with the big boys if you can, right? You have basically everything is kind of matching the market. So you have like Apple Computer stuck right at the 20 SMA, right? Like you have, right, a bear flag in this, Microsoft, right? If Amazon breaks under the 200, right, then you've got room down to about 191. Google itself, right, break down, pull back, and now you're kind of remounting back under. all of these. This MU looks dusted at this point. 75, 90 tomorrow, right? 85 a couple days from now if the market stays weak. Look at the nasty rollover in this thing. AMD, maybe its run is over. It had a really beautiful spot for a couple weeks, and we'll see kind of how it goes. I think the other ones are easier shorts because this one you still got EMAs pointing up on it. This today was picture perfect. A lot more room to go probably. This stock doesn't break its 200 test for quite some time. So now you've broken this, all right? You got bear flags galore on the intraday basis. On the weekly chart, any weakness tomorrow takes you under the 50-day moving average on the weekly. And that puts a lot more airspace, underneath the cards here. This is, things are in jeopardy if, we don't kind of backtrack today's action. Tesla is sitting right at the 200-day moving average too. Like this is top of the list to fade tomorrow. And then look, I think the easy ones are NVDA and AVGO. They're the two cleanest, all right? NVIDIA, AVGO, they're just clean bear flags. AVGO, harder to trade a little bit due to spread, but cleaner chart. NVIDIA is also there, and of course you can do options and stuff like, dude, you're down 7%, then you start racking some puts on this thing. You can really get some good cheddars going. So I like the overall, look on some of these shorts. We have to be flexible. Tomorrow somebody could just say, gotcha, and then, everything kind of starts to grind back. We're in a news cycle, but that news cycle is following the technicals the way it's supposed to be. I wouldn't mess around too much with any kind of mid caps and stuff tomorrow. I think tomorrow liquidity is going to be in play. We want to have just really kind of some liquid names and stuff like that. So nothing special today, guys. NVIDIA, AVGO look like picture perfect bear flags. If we need some longs, then, we can try something like, an AMD or something if it holds up. But I think they all just run together. It doesn't really matter. If I get the inkling that I need to start longing something tomorrow, what I'll start to do is, I will either just do the call options on the Qs or grab some NQs or something, the futures contract. Or, you can just, trade any large cap. They're all going to move around together. So let me know if you need any help with anything. This is a tough market. Don't worry about it. If this is not your market, who cares? You usually make your nut in a handful of months of the year anyways. So just be mindful of that. Don't worry about this stuff, all right? So stay safe, stay clean. I love you guys. Peace.